Hello and welcome to the first episode of SParkCast, the Tech Edition. I am Aditya Nair, a junior correspondent from Spark SPIT. This is Professor Kaisar Katchi, our faculty mentor from Spark SPIT. And our guest for today is Ms. Vidhya Krishnaswamy. Vidya is a highly accomplished business leader with extensive experience in the consumer products, retail, and distribution industry. She is currently Vice President and Head of CPRD, that is Consumer Products, Retail and Distribution, in the Indian Business Unit at Capgemini. In her role, Vidya is responsible for driving growth, business strategy, and building client relationships. With a strong background in mathematics and computer science, Vidya has developed a deep understanding of various data science techniques, including deep learning, natural language processing, and computer vision. She is known for her exceptional leadership skills, strategic thinking, and deep domain knowledge. Vidya is also passionate about driving innovation and digital transformation in the retail and consumer products industries, making her a valuable asset to any company she's a part of. Hello, Vidya. We're glad to have you on board.
Hi, Aditya. Thanks for your generous words. Very happy to be a part of this conversation.
Hi, Vidya.
So, without any further ado, let's go on with the session. Today, the topic for today's session would be the Metaverse. What is the need for a 3D immersive internet, that is the Metaverse?
It's a great question to start with. Why do we even need Metaverse, right? I mean, of course, Metaverse has its own manifestation in different industries. I will specifically focus on the retail part of it. If you really look at the retailers, I think always they wanted to create an online world which is with equivalent to a real world, right? And a consumer, when they go to a real store or to an online store, they should have the similar experience or even better experience if it is online. And that has been always the ask in this particular online world for retail. And I think Metaverse really makes one step closer to the real world because it allows you to create your own avatar and it allows you to create an endless ills and SKUs, everything on an online world and multiple other things, right? I mean, it creates that immersive experience for the users to really feel that they are part of the real store and much more than that. And obviously, Metaverse is the thing which will make it happen.
Um, so, Vidya, considering what you just talked about, how do you feel the metaverse will change the way consumers shop for goods and services online?
A fantastic question, I would think. The entire online world, and we all talk about online shopping, till at least end of 2000, around 2019-20, people were shopping online. I'm talking more about India context, and even globally, 20-25% maximum was e-commerce. It was not still the brick and mortar were existing. A lot of people were using brick and mortar. Of course, we had the Amazons of the world, which are mostly online, but they also acquired a few brick and mortar stores. With the pandemic which came in, suddenly there was a boom in the online world because there's no other way I can go to a shop and shop, right? And 2 years, at least 1.5 years, 18 months, we were literally sitting at home in front of a computer or in a mobile phone. We were ordering even the basic groceries. It gave me a new experience in the online world. Everybody started using digital way of shopping, digital way of payments, digital way of doing everything. Now that I'm used to the digital world, I want more from the digital world. How can I get that more experience? Can I really get away from the store and really focus on the digital world? Can I do a lot more on the digital shopping? It really gave you that, the immersive experience. And the way I shop is, more digital. I can do everything what I can do there. Plus, if you really look at Metaverse, it's not just purely shopping. It is not purely retail. For example, if I go to the metaverses like a Nike land or a Walmart land or any of these, it gives you the shopping experience. Plus, there could be a game. You can play a game and get some promotion. The promotions can be thrown at you online. You can look at a product and get all the information. For example, if I go to a store, physical store, I want to understand, is it right for me? Am I peanut allergic? Does it contain peanuts? Or it could be, how much, what vitamins, what minerals it contains. If you take an item on the metaverse, you can see it online that what it contains. I think it's left to the individual the creativity and the innovation of individual retailer, how they want to pursue this entire metaverse, and you can go to any extent in terms of what kind of experience you want to give for the users.
The point that really got me was the point where you said that brick and mortar shops would get obsolete. Now, but this was similar to what people thought during the online shopping boom. So, how are you sure that this will be what will lead to the brick and mortar shops being obsolete?
To be honest, in my mind, brick and mortar will never get obsolete. Okay, but the way they operate, the functions, what they do, could become different with every new technology which is changing the way we shop in the online world. Okay, if I take a real e-commerce world, much before metaverse, the brick and mortar store is where you go shop, take items, buy, go back to your place where you want to take them. When online came in, the brick and mortar became a little different because many of them had to be shut down during pandemic, etc. They became fulfillment centers. For example, if I'm ordering a kg of banana and a kg of apple, they used to use it like a distribution center or a place where you can store items and deliver it to the individual house. Because end of the day, the stores exist in residential areas. Many of them exist in residential areas, and the last mile delivery, what needs to go to the individual houses or individual wherever you has go, that last mile is very well taken care by the local store there. It makes it much more easier for the retailer to go and deliver it to the individual houses. With the metaverse, right? The way you shop will be different. The manifestation of individual physical store could be different. You might want to marry, for example, you do a promotion on the metaverse, say that you collect these tokens and you can redeem this token in a real world. Then you go and give that token with your digital token, and then could be cryptocurrency, whatever, right? I mean, you try to kind of create that seamless experience between an online and an offline world. The online shopping is less than 25% of the overall the retailer what they make. You cannot get away with the 75% just by looking at the 25%. And also, it's a different point I want to make here. Human senses, if you really look at human senses, all of that at this point of time have not been addressed by in the online world. But there are latest a lot of technologies. Technically, we are there, but implementation, it will take a bit more time. In fact, I had written a paper couple of years back, 21 June, which was published in Mint. It is human senses, which is the next battlefield for online retailers. That gives you really about the senses and what research has happened across the world on these particular senses and how retailers are embracing these technologies for their own use.
Wow. Uh, we'll come back to that in a few moments. That's really interesting. Uh, the next question I have for you is the current internet landscape. It is massively, dominated by advertisements, ad revenue, and social media influencers. And most of those influencers are also advertising in one form or another. Uh, so, how will the metaverse be different in this regard?
In my mind, metaverse will be the same because in end of the day, I think advertisements, marketing is extremely important, not just for the retailer and for all the supporting business, because they generate revenue out of these marketing. And so the only difference what I see in metaverse, it could be more live because you're going to wear your headsets. You're going to feel your avatar is a part of the metaverse. And you can do different things, and there could be an advertisement or a game which is there which could really promote you to the to get something simple like Pokemon Go. How this entire gaming industry, the AR VR industry, really evolved over a period of time. Same way with metaverse, you can have your own advertisement, and that's one way where it could really expand its horizon to multiple other areas. So I don't expect the advertisement free metaverse. I would think that really gives you more opportunities for advertisement. Sometimes you might not even know it is advertisement. It doesn't have to be a physical billboard. It can be, it can be a part of the game what you're playing, or can be part of, what you're trying to do. For example, I'm walking in an ale, in a virtual ale, right? I'm buying something. I'm buying, say, for example, a bottle, and that comes with an accessory to a bottle holder or something. When I'm picking up this, maybe there'll be an advertisement that'll say, do you want to go pick up something else? And it could be it could be related to my shopping. It could be related to my personal experience. I think the metaverse really gives you that edge of converting your personal experience into a real opportunity for them in terms of how they can convert. My interest could be, I look for healthy food. Then it really gives me that advertisement, and if there is a new item which has been introduced by the retailer, why don't you go and pick it up, kind of thinking, right? So I think the retailers are really longing to understand consumers better and experiences better, so they can advertise the right way. So you don't want to give me something which I'm not interested in. I'm not going to buy it, right? You want to give me something which based on my personal interest, and that is what. Moment you are an avatar moving in the metaverse, obviously you're creating so much of your own personalized thinking into it, and obviously that can be converted into an opportunity by the retailer or whoever is doing it.
That was a great answer, and you touched on Pokemon Go. We'll come back to that a bit later. But while you were speaking about advertising, and you said it would be more or less the same to what's going on right now, do you think the small retailers and the small stores would have a new lease on life when it comes in to the metaverse?
Um, Fantastic question. I think it's an opportunity for small retailers in my mind. Um, if you really look at even the online world, people who were not even known before the pandemic came in became big during pandemic, because for the pure reason they were online. Some of them are purely online. They strengthened their online, the way they do things. And many of the companies are already acquired by bigger companies today, because, you really saw that opportunity there. And I do see that metaverse, by making the right investment, the small companies, small retailers can really become big, because that's, again, a sea of opportunity in terms of what they're doing. So they can even compete with the large retailer, because again, this is typically like the old companies who have done only brick and mortar have struggled to get into online world, right? Now that with pandemic, they were forced to get into online world. Now they have gotten, they're trying to expand in the online world also. But, the smaller companies which are nimble, and they start an online world, can very easily expand into this area, and could become a threat for the larger companies too, if they have the right business model and the right way to do things.
So we've been speaking about the metaverse for the past few minutes. What I'm interested in knowing is, like, right now, the way we are accessing the metaverse is through these VR headsets. And while they are available for purchase in the consumer space, they don't have widespread adoption, right? Like, everybody's not able to buy it. Like, these days, you can buy a smartphone for like 5,000 rupees. We are not at that price point yet. And there's not even widespread information available about like what constitutes a good headset and so on and so forth. So that said, how long do you think will we be at that state where the masses, the general public, will be able to get their hands on some sort of metaverse that is functional beyond being just a tech demo, both from the perspective of software and hardware?
If you really look at my own cell phone, right? 20 years back, I don't remember using more than 20 years back, 25 years back, right? No cell phone. It used to be so expensive, even to receive a call on a cell phone. I remember those old sets, what we had. We never thought today I cannot go out without a cell phone. I'm okay to leave my wallet at home, but I cannot go without a phone. And it's become a part and parcel of my life. The VR headset, whatever is there, it's not very easily operatable, to be frank, because it's heavy. You have to wear it Sometimes I feel it's a little claustrophobic too. Some you kind of put it on your head. But I think the technology moves very fast. I'm sure there is also a lot of research happening because you can't wear the headset for too long, right? I mean, you can't wear it for 3 hours, sit at home and do your digital shopping, or be in a metaverse land and try to understand things. At some point of time, as we move along, these headsets could become more and more sleek, and the price wise also, I think at some point of time it'll be very affordable where people can use it. And today it is more it's a demo point where you kind of really do that. But there are some industries, I mean, while we talk about retail, there are some industries, for example, a virtual clinic, where you really have, there could be needs in for example, aerospace area or automobile, where you have simulators for doing things, which is not easy in aerospace. How do you get those simulators, zero G, things of that nature? I think those, it's a huge sea of difference to use these headsets, because it really gives you that real life experience just sitting at home. But we will get there in terms of how these headsets, how much cheaper it can become and things of that nature. And in gaming industry, at least it'll make a huge difference the way things are going with metaverse. A lot of retailers, while they do retail in metaverse, they also do a lot of gaming. And they do have celebrities who come in and talk to the individual, just to say, I mean, if you're an avatar, you get into a metaverse and there is a celebrity there, right there, whom you can interact with. Nothing like it. I mean, you get to know them. And this is like, Kaisar, you, me, Aditya sitting in the same metaverse, and we can communicate that much more, have our common interest could be, so much more could be done. So it might give us a completely new area of thinking in terms of what we can do with these lives.
So speaking of the gaming experience, and even previously you had touched on Pokemon Go, while we saw those game was revolutionary, and but it still looks like a game, right? So do you think, are we moving towards a point where the metaverse will start looking more like the real world outside, or should we even aim for something like that?
I'm still a little skeptical whether it could completely get away with real life. I mean, you can get away with your real life and be in the metaverse all the time, right? End of the day, it is my own avatar being there. But there are some industries like what I was saying, a healthcare, or some areas where, you know, um, which you cannot get away with metaverse, to be frank, with simulation, what you can do, things of that nature. I think there, in those industry, it'll be a boon. Imagine there is, touchwood, one more pandemic, right? Where it is still more worse. You can't step out. What do you think you're going to sit at home and do? Now we know at least how to operate. Luckily, we had our laptops and internets, and I still remember the Zooms of the world, the Teams of the world, how they really kind of got into this area. But if there is a different challenge in the world, maybe metaverse could be a solution. But metaverse has really proven itself in some of the areas like healthcare. I think definitely those are areas. These are, right now it is more nice to have gaming and things of that nature. There are still some challenges in terms of, you can't wear the headset for a very long time. See, there is also a difference I have seen that between the Gen Z and the older generation like us. We like to go touch, feel, to go buy tomato from the shop rather than buying tomato online. Some of the areas people definitely will embrace metaverse. Right now it is very expensive, but if you really look at how you create your own avatar, let me give you an example on how what Nike Land had. The digital sneakers, when they were introduced, one of the model, you can customize it to your color, your whatever you want. Multiple customizations available. Within 6 minutes of its introduction, they sold 600 pairs and made $3 million within 6 minutes. And these are not real sneaker also. I can't even wear and walk. It is just gives you a non-fungible token. I can those, put it for my avatar. Why would I pay a $10,000 just for a sneaker, right? So I think people are getting crazy about it sometimes, I would think, but it gives you a new area of interest, and people like to hold these digital assets, the non-fungible tokens, where they really feel proud about, I'm holding it, and there is going to be a market which will get created where you can sell these digital assets digitally.
So see, the thing that according to me separates these NFTs is that they are digital goods. They don't really feel like a real piece of ownership, right? But if you add that to the equation, specifically with regards to the metaverse, so all the things that you mentioned, right, that the metaverse can't currently give us, that sense of touch, that sense of scent, that sense of belonging in a real physical space. Like, are we anywhere close to being able to simulate those kind of sensations?
Great question. As I will refer back to my the paper what I had. So the paper is about the human senses, the next battlefield for online retailers. This was published in Mint, and you can get that download it from the Capgemini website. And it really talks about multiple senses, the sight and hearing, which online world already has. We can see, we can hear, so I will not touch upon that. But look at a smell, okay? Look at a taste. Look at a feel when you touch something like that. So smell, if you really look at, right? Senti, a Japanese mobile app, had created some fragrant cartridges which can really attach to your mobile, and players can experience, for example, if you're shooting, you can even feel the gunpowder smell, okay? The CES 2023, the Consumer Electronics Show 2023, there is a company called OVR Technology which introduced those fragrances, different fragrances, which you can smell it along with the metaverse. So I think there's a lot of research which has been done, but it doesn't come naturally, right? I mean, I can't smell sitting in front of my computer. If I want to cooking something, I'm going through some cooking classes online, I cannot really smell that. But there are gadgets available which will help you do that, and we need to make that as an attachment, and we are not very far away from getting that commercialized or being used. If I really look at the other one, the taste, which is most important. Interestingly, I'm sure all of you would have seen this ad where for the gems, right, the guy will go and lick the screen, right, when the gems. Interestingly, the major university researchers developed a lickable screen long back, where you get the taste of that particular item. There are digital lollipops available where you get the taste of it, which just gives you the electronic signal and things of that nature where you get that taste. Okay. Now, the same thing goes with the touch also. So the tactile sensor, which is used in robotics and things of that nature, because robo has to, if it is a very soft item, they have to touch it accordingly, hard item. So there are technologies are available. Technologies are there for a long time, but because of the ease of use, the adoption, and the way things are done is taking more time than expected. Maybe someday we might get there. If not all the sensors, at least one or two, wherever possible, those sensors will definitely come. So I would urge you, there is a lot of research done. You can read a lot more. Feel free to download the paper from Capgemini website and have a look at it and ask me any question. I mean, if you want to reach out to the Capgemini team and ask me any questions on those, more than happy to be answer those too.
Great question there. Now, speaking of Capgemini, Capgemini is also working in the metaverse space alongside Unity. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
So we signed up this Unity, and I mean, there's an alliance, a global alliance partnership. It gives us to work with Metaverse, and there are three objectives to this whole partnership. One is, how can we define approaches, methodologies? So we, along with Unity, really conduct joint R&D projects, really create those methodologies. The second one is, how can we really help each other in terms of business development, solution development, things of that nature. The third one is, talent development, because this is new technology. I think people are still learning. How can we really create a global talent in terms of understanding metaverse, and how you can really navigate in metaverse, program metaverse, all of that. I think these three objectives, we have been working with Unity in multiple cases, and we already have a global talent pool created by Unity and us, and it's working great for us.
I remember when Unity was just a game engine, and now it has become so much more. Wow.
People are innovating day in and day out. I think that we cannot forget at all.
But when you think about the metaverse, I feel like the number one company you think of is Meta itself, because that's what Facebook rebranded as. It feels like they are the ones who are at the top of the food chain right now, right? Because they're the ones who put things out in the public space. But I kind of remember being a little disappointed with their presentation when they first put out that short 10-minute video about the metaverse, right? And they specifically talked about those tiny little avatars in 3D space. I remember feeling that, okay, this feels like I'm in a game like The Sims, and all I'm really doing is projecting myself into it. So if metaverse is going to be the thing, like, do you feel like Facebook is the company or Meta is the company that's going to get us there? Or do you think there'll be some other industry leader a decade from now? Are there any other players that you're not aware of?
A very apt question. I think if you really look at multiple other areas like Chat GPT and how it was started, and see, there is always an early starter in any technology, right? And everybody else will jump onto the bandwagon at some point of time. And whoever is jumping on the bandwagon can do better innovation and go to the next level also. When Amazon started online, who was online at that time? Most of them were not. They were doing 1%, 2% online shopping. But when Amazon really took over, now, they are on the top, really took over. Now, tell me one retailer who is not online, right? Same thing will happen for Metaverse. I think initially there could be an early adopt person who creates the whole thing. You will have a battalion following them and who could innovate much more than that. So I think that it will get there. And but there are some technologies which were, for example, RFID or some of those technologies which started big, but the cost, the way things are happening, everything needs to go hand in hand. If there is a challenge in that, sometimes the technology might not really take off. It might be used in certain use cases, but might not really take off. So today, Metaverse is the talk of the town. We have to create those use cases which can be done only by Metaverse and by nobody else, which are, humanly needed, very, very much needed use cases. So other companies will also get, I'm not looking only at Meta or Facebook, other companies will go, they could even surpass Meta's thinking on Metaverse.
And we've loved having this session with you, Vidya. And that's it for this episode of SParkCast. Thank you. See you. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. I think it was wonderful talking to you both. And
Great, Mr.
I'm more than
Same here.
happy to take up any questions which will come up out of this podcast from your students. And it's a very interesting topic, both
Yes.
metaverse and retail. I'm looking forward to a lot more to happen in retail and metaverse. And probably we talk again in a year's time to see how metaverse has taken a new avatar, maybe, right? The entire metaverse. So I think more than happy to be a part of future conversations also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a pleasure speaking to
My
you.
pleasure.
Thank you. Bye.